necessity made me start painting with coffee. The idea of working with watercolors was something that always struck me, and now I find out that the museum have a collection of Andrew Wyeth, and his watercolors always been for me a major school. But back in Cuba, I tend to do some drawings. And one day I have an accident, happy accident, where I spilled the coffee on a drawing, and I say I can do watercolors with coffee. So that's how the whole thing become. But I didn't take it that serious. I was just playing around, trying to control water on the paper. Years later, so I was living in Charleston, South Carolina, and I came back to the coffee paintings because I was I feel like I was feeling homesick, and coffee is a big thing for Cubans. We welcome people with coffee. And I started going back to the coffee paintings. A museum from South Carolina came to visit my studio, so the paintings, you should have an exhibition of your coffee paintings. And that's when it took off. And I'm glad that I did because now it's part of my heritage.
Right.
Yes.
Where would you say most of your ideas come from? Are they?
I think I feel like if I would not be an artist, a visual artist, I would work as a journalist. And it is our mission, demand, as an artist to portray our times, to see the world that we live today as a canvas, because we always has been part of history, representing history visually, as you guys do in the museum. So I like to depict themes that are social, they are personal. I like nature, so I do a lot of paintings that have symbol of, like how we protect our nature as well. But my composition mostly come from my time, my self-time meditation. I close my eyes, I play some good music, and I start looking things as a cinematography. So I feel like I'm in the camera going around, and I capture my compositions like that.
And what draws me to the work is the heavy application of paint.
Yes.
I love the impasto technique.
Thank you.
And you really excel at it.
Thank you.
Have you always used the medium in that manner or not?
Because Cuba, I have a trauma of using paint, so I always put a little bit of paint to paint. But we were having this conversation earlier when I was expressing my fascination with Joaquin Sorolla's work. And I mean, I think he was a genius in his own rights when it comes to painting. And I think I studied a lot of his work, even though my style is not even close to what he does. But I like the fact that he used layers of paintings. I still wonder how he did it. So I always wanted to do paintings as the Impressionists, and I followed that, even though my background wasn't academic, realism. So 2020, everything was canceled. The non-essential business were closed. I had my solo show where was canceled as well, and I went sit down to my studio and say I need to paint now what I really been looking for so many years, even though my tendency was an impressionism. So I pioneered the first paintings with impastos, and I say, this is my niche right now. and I wanted to go in that direction. And I always love abstract as well. So it is a combination. When you get close to the painting, you see these layers, mountains of colors, that it can become something very unrealistic.
Right.
And when you go far away, it starts making some sense.
And you made us laugh yesterday when you said the impasto is also expensive.
It is really expensive. I think what I was saying before, I had the trauma from Cuba. I was just put a little bit of paint on it, on my palette, and paint, and very careful, save it back. So that took me a while, even though I was living here in the United States. I would have more the luxury of, spending my materials. But now I don't see it that way. I see it like I'm painting now like a child. I'm having fun with the painting. It drops, if the color drops and stick in some place on the canvas, on the bottle, I just leave it. Because it's happy accidents become something beautiful also.
That's right.
And so I feel myself like that. I enjoy the interpretation of reality is the way I'm doing it right now. So that's why I consider like I'm having fun as a child.
And we're along with you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you so
Thank
much.
you.